Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this channel is all about my journey throughout CRNA school. So today's video is going to be on my first day of clinicals. If you guys are interested, let's get into the nitty-gritty. The night before, I received an email from the clinical coordinator on what assignment I'd be getting. So they had told us in the beginning we would be paired with a student so that we can understand what it is to have the student role and what we're supposed to be doing, like where the cafeteria is, what break times look like, and things like that. So it was, I had gotten the email on who I'd be paired with, and I messaged him through email to send me a text message, and he did. And he told me what time to meet and where to go, and that he would give me a tour of the hospital and told me what cases we'd be having. So I have the Vargo anesthesia app, which I highly recommend. It's $100 from the App Store, and it goes into detail all the types of cases that you could possibly have, and then what to expect in those cases, positioning, medications, things to avoid, things like that. So I kind of already had a little rundown of what to expect from the Vargo anesthesia app, so it kind of helped calm my nerves a little bit, but still the nerves were on all-time high. I could barely fall asleep. I knew I had to be up early. He had told me he gets there around 6:10 in the morning, so I was still doing laundry at 11, like still trying to like get my nerves to settle down so I could finally fall asleep. I didn't go to bed until probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Then I woke up at 4:30. I picked up a friend so we would be lost together. And yeah, he met us there at that time, took us around the hospital, and then we were on our way. So the first case in the morning was a robotic nephrectomy, but really it was a tumor on the kidney. So it was like a possible nephrectomy if they couldn't remove the margins of the cancer, but neither here nor there. When I got there, we set up the room, and he was very thorough about it. Also, he was a NICU nurse, so it was like, I guess, helped ease the... Because in my mind, I was like, I've never even taken care of an adult patient, so it kind of feels so foreign just in general, and then foreign in terms of like, you know, everything about it. Like, I was in the OR several times, like in my nursing career, but it was like to catch the babies and then run out. You know, I never really looked at what was going on at the head of the bed, and the shadowing experience I did before COVID, so I don't even remember it. So that, and I didn't even know what was going on. I was just kind of watching, so I didn't even know what questions to ask or anything like that. So yeah, it was like all new to me. Everything was foreign. Like, I had heard about the drugs before because obviously we're covering that now, but it's like I haven't used them in application. I don't know like the exact dosages and things like that, but it just, I mean, I was a fish out of water the entire time. But he was like really good about like, I don't know, explaining things, and it was great. It was great. So we got the patient, and they were like, oh, you want to do an IV? I was like, man, I've only done IVs on babies. Like, I don't feel comfortable doing an IV in an adult right now, especially not today. I was like, and then the first thing he said was that he was a hard stick and that we can only do it in the one arm because he had prior surgeries in the left arm. I was like, oh, great. So then I'm thinking like the blood pressure cuff is going to be on the same arm as the infusing arm. So I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do. And I have to get 2 IVs. No, I was like, I can't. My mind is, I can't do this right now. And then when it came to, you know, the induction process, I told the SRNA, I said, hey, is it okay if I just literally observe from the back? Like, I'll ask my questions after, but I kind of just want to see the flow and the finesse of it. I don't really want to intubate this first patient, like, if that's okay. And he was totally understanding of that, and he talked me through everything, and it was very smooth induction. And then it got to the maintenance part of the case, and it was pretty good. You know, he was doing great, and then he had an emergency, so he had to leave. And it's unfortunate because then the CRNA that was covering him, you know, he didn't know that he was supposed to have a student because the student had a student. You know, he didn't have a student. He was observing the student, and the student was talking me through what his typical day would be like. So I don't think the CRNA was in the mood to have a student. But, you know, right off the bat, when he took over the case, he was like, hey, why don't you go get something to drink or go to the cafeteria? And I was like, no, I'm good. And then he's like, or why don't you, you know, go empty your bowels or something? And I was like, no, I'm good. And then he kind of gave me like the skedaddle maneuver, and I was like, oh, I see what you're doing. You don't want me to be in here. Gotcha. That's all you had to say. So then I left, and I just waited in the cafeteria because I had nowhere to go. Like, I was like, where do I go? Like, I mean, I can wait in the staff lounge or whatever. I was like, I don't even know where to put myself. So I waited in the cafeteria for 15 minutes, and I went back in. And then it was like maybe 10 to 15 minutes left in the case, and then it was time for emergence. And, you know, it was not the smoothest emergence. I guess the patient had, I don't know, he was bucking a lot and gagging a lot, coughing a lot, and it just looked uncomfortable. But I mean, I know that's part of the process. And then we took him over to PACU and did the PACU report. But the CRNA was like, do you think maybe you can steer the bed? And I was like, I mean, I've never steered a bed. He's like, you've never steered a bed? And I was like, no. He's like, well, what about those NICU things? And I was like, well, yeah, I steered isolettes before, but if I crashed, the baby didn't know. The baby couldn't tell anyone, hey, this girl can't drive. So I was crashing into walls, and the patients are looking up to me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, they really shouldn't have given me this job. I kept crashing into walls. Like, I literally couldn't steer those damn stretchers. And then I started to get better toward the end, but it was embarrassing that that's the only task I was given, and I couldn't even do that. Like, it just baffles my mind how I could go from being so confident to being so absolutely not confident. I mean, obviously, if you're not versed in the field, it becomes foreign, and then you're lost. But I'm trying to tell myself that, like, I've never done anesthesia before. Like, I've been taught it, but I've never done it. So I have to give myself some credit there that, you know, I survived. But then the next case, we went to the anesthesiologist, had already done the pre-op interview and assessment, and he had given us his documentation, and, you know, we went to the back with the patient because it was like ready to go. You know, like, they cleaned up the room, turned it over, and we drew up all the meds and whatnot. So then we started the case. He did the induction, intubated the patient flawlessly, and you know, we were in the maintenance phase, and he asks me for Decadron. And I know Decadron is dexamethasone, so I was looking for dexamethasone. So in my head, I was just looking for a DEX. And I found a DEX, and I handed it to him. He goes, that's Precedex. And I was like, this is Precedex. I guess I was so nervous I couldn't even tell my right hand from my left. Like, I couldn't even tell if what was my lip. I was so lost, like, literally so lost, that dexmedetomidine and dexamethasone, I was like, perfect, let's give it. And I didn't draw it up or anything. Nobody got hurt in the process, but obviously it goes to show, like, when you're that stressed, like, you know, just slow down. You really have to slow down and, like, take a step back and understand that you're gonna be slow. Like, what my thing was, I didn't want to be slow. You know, I didn't want to slow him down. And he asked me to draw up 4 milligrams, and I was like, oh my God, I have to do math. And I screwed that up. I told him, look, I'm not normally this lost or this, like, dumb. Like, I'm not an idiot, but right now I can't even tell if I have to burp or fart. Like, I'm literally so lost that, you know, I made mistakes, and I'm sorry. So from here on out, if you ask me for a drug, I'm going to show you first. I'm going to drop the med and show you what I've drawn up, just because I feel like you have no confidence in me. And he's like, yes, you're absolutely right. I have no confidence in you. So it was just like all kinds of bad, and like, I wasn't even familiar with where in the cart the drugs were, like, because you know that what's supposed to be in there, but you know where they are, and they're mislabeled. Like, one said ondansetron, and I grabbed it, and it's heparin. I was like, what? And then I had to go looking again, you know. So, like, I really had to go slow. I really had to take a step back and really, like, focus on what I needed to do, and I was just beating myself up. And in the end, it's like, who's the one that takes that home is me. He's probably like, whatever, that girl's an idiot, but he's probably never gonna see me again. I don't know, you know, based on schedules when I'll be back there or whatever. But I mean, granted, if I do run into him again, I hope that I can be able to prove myself wrong in future days. But you know, it was my first day, so I have to be kind to myself in that regard. But you know, I kind of got a feel for what the anesthesia, the actual, like, finesse and you know, the care looks like. And you know, I'm pleased with it. I was happy to be in the OR. I just I wasn't happy because I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't like I didn't know where to stand. I didn't know what to do. I was just like observing. I didn't want to take up space. I didn't want to waste their time. I didn't want to slow them down. So it was all kinds of things like that was just like, you know, going on in my head. And you know, I didn't want to look bad. I didn't want to make my school look bad, but in the end, it really was my first day. I screwed up big time, and I know it, and that's okay. I'm really trying to like take a step back and realize, you know, it was just one person's perspective, and that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But you know, as a person, you know, when you know your own level of skill and whatnot, I definitely disappointed myself. But I have only one way to go, which is up. You know, I'm down at the bottom, and I have only one way to go. And was it a terrible experience? No. There were definitely hiccups and speed bumps that, like, you know, made me feel like I made a mistake again. Like, I've made this decision, like, I made a mistake. I've said it like 100 times every semester, but I'm the kind of person that I like to excel in whatever it is that I do. So I feel like I want to get back in there and do better each time, learn something each time, and just grow and, you know, be better and be a better provider, do better for my patients. I didn't touch a single patient, so I couldn't harm anyone yet. But yeah, I mean, crashing into walls maybe. I have to go back again on Monday, and I'm hoping that, you know, I'm a little less fumbling, a little less, and a little more aware of where I am in space and what my role is and my duties and whatnot. And hopefully I'll still be with an SRNA, because I'm not ready, you know, to be asked a lot of questions and things like that. Like, I liked my SRNA. He was very he was asking if I had questions or concerns, and when I did ask them, he had very valid answers, and he was very attentive to, you know, me as a person and that I was being there. So he was great. It just sucked that he had to go and that he had an emergency, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's the train wreck of my first day of clinicals. Hoping to have better days and to report better news that I'm getting better along the way, but you know, it was definitely a nightmare that I really didn't want to relive. Yeah, it wasn't all terrible. Like, I'm making it seem like it was awful, but it was just like me in my own head and just taking that home and not being able to sleep because of it and just beating myself up left and right. But yeah. Yeah, that's it for this video. I look forward to giving you more information along the way about how I'm doing in clinicals. I was hoping to film a little bit, but I didn't want to be on my phone. I was given strict instructions not to be on my phone or even sit down. So I was like, I'll just do a video talking about it later. So if I get more comfortable in the location that I'm at, I'll be able to maybe film and show you guys my setup and whatnot. But at this moment in time, I will not be doing that. I don't want to get into trouble. But yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.